how did California boy get to do hockey?
Yeah, I started out playing roller hockey. When I'd come home from school, I'd put on some rollerblades and play in our cul-de-sac out in front of our house. There's a good group of kids, probably like about 10 of us that lived on the block. And after school, we would just play, just the street hockey. And one day, I decided I went for a birthday party, like a public skate, and that was my first time skating. And I loved it, and I switched to ice hockey the next year, and it's been like that ever since.
Nice. And do you think that for California boy, was it harder to achieve your dream to the NHL? Did you have to work harder?
Yeah, it was, nobody came from California, really, to play pro hockey, so it's kind of like, trailing a path for people to do it, so people could follow my steps. I didn't have anybody to look up to that was, doing that, so it was kind of just on our own, and, it was definitely harder. There was only a couple rinks back in the early 90s built in Southern California, so finding ice time was tough. It's not like when it's wintertime, I can freeze a pond, or go skate on a pond like Canadians or European players, so it was definitely a disadvantage.
Your journey has been pretty incredible. I mean, you battled some tough situations. How did you go with everything?
Yeah, no, it's tough. I lost my sister at an early age, right before I was going to go play junior hockey when I was 15 years old. And then, the next season, the next year, my mom gets diagnosed with cancer, and that's, like I said before, I'm going to go play junior hockey and leave home. So, it's only made me stronger. It's only made my family stronger. And last season, before the start of my first KHL season, my mother passed away. So we're actually out coming on this trip, so I missed this trip. But it's tough. It's tough times. We got a good group. Our family is really close, and that's what keeps us together. And makes me playing hockey so far away from home that much easier. I know they got a good base there, and they're rooting for me. And my mom is my biggest fan, so just trying to make her happy and work hard for her every day.
Okay, so now let's back to the AHL. You played there 5 seasons, right?
Yeah.
And all of them were two-way contracts.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you think? Why, like, first the time in AHL, and in AHL, so what do you think? What was the reason?
I don't know. When I got called up, when I was like 22, I think I played the last 23 games of the season and 2 rounds of playoffs, and I did phenomenal. And the next season we weren't as good, and expectations were a little high. And in Nashville, we had defensemen like Roman Josi and Brian Ellis waiting to be called up. So, I was struggling a little bit and got sent down. And then the next year was the NHL lockout. So I played that year, and after that, it was just a numbers game. As you get on, and I was a first-round draft pick at the time. So I had my opportunity, and the NHL's going younger and younger and younger. So, I had my opportunity, but I'm glad I'm over here playing. I'm playing a lot, and I'm having fun. At some point, in time back in North America, hockey wasn't fun. And now that I came over here, I'm enjoying the game. I'm smiling a lot more, and that's what it's all about.
So that was the reason why you decided to come here to AHL, that two-way contracts and like work.
Yeah, it was, you get labeled as what kind of player you are over there, and there's no change in that. So, I wanted a new fresh start. I love coming under second in the league in ice time, and I can do whatever I want. I'm playing a lot, and it's just a great opportunity, and, my family likes it too.
And for some players, maybe to go from AHL to KHL is like, go back, step back. Do you think it's a step back for players who maybe wants to go to NHL, they're still in AHL, to go to AHL?
I don't think it pits you behind coming over here. Obviously, when you're in the AHL, you usually got an NHL contract, or you're set with that team. So, yeah, it's a little disadvantage that way, but the hockey compared to the AHL is a lot better than the KHL. And, I think just the league itself, you're playing against Datsyuk, Kovalchuk, all former NHL All-Stars, so you don't get that in the AHL too often. And, the AHL's a grind. It's every night, it's guys want to fight, guys are trying to kill you every night. And, here the game's more skilled, and it's, less games, 60 games, so it's a lot easier on the body.
Alright, so this is your 7th season in Vladivostok. How is life like this? Because it's, even for us, it's pretty expensive country, so how it is for you?
Yeah, no, I love it. Vladivostok's a great city. I think it's one of the top 5 places to play in Russia. I mean, it's beautiful. It's right on the ocean, the coast. Kind of reminds me of being in California. sun, so it's you can't ask for too much with that. But obviously the travel's terrible. The time changes. It's 9-hour difference right now, so we come out for 2 games, so it's hard on the body to adjust and readjust going back. But other than that, it's been a great organization. I'm happy to play for them.
So did you experience a lot of culture shock when you came there?
Yeah, Russia in general, being from Southern California, it's definitely a shock. You know, just the roads, you know, the driving. The driving's the biggest thing for me. It's
really?
pretty crazy, yeah. So
Why?
there's no rules on the
Oh,
road.
yeah, right.
People are just driving in and out and stuff like that. So that's a little scary. But other than that, people are people, and you know, they've treated me really well there, and they've taken me in, and you know, I can't thank them enough.
What about food?
Food, food's good. You get to some tough cities, you know, on the road, and the hotels are a little bad. You get some tough meals, but I've never had a bad meal in Vladivostok. The restaurants are fantastic. I love it.
Nice. And now back to the hockey. What was the toughest or hardest for you to have for about adjusting to this?
Just an adjustment of just the language barrier is really tough, and obviously the bigger ice. In North America, you don't have the big ice. In North America, they talk every shift, like they talk when they want the puck, and it makes it so much easier. Here, the Russian guys are a little more quiet, so they're not talking, and it just makes it harder for me. That's the biggest thing.
Okay. And so, what is your most favorite city to play in Canada?
Definitely St. Petersburg.
Really?
Playing there, it's unbelievable. It's a rink like this, sold out. You're playing against the best team in the league always, and like I said, just the atmosphere, the fans are reminded me of playing in the NHL.
And the last favorite one?
Well, East would probably have to be like Novus Kuznets.
Okay.
Rink is really old, not a lot of fans, not a lot of atmosphere, and it's something kind of just don't look forward to playing. And when you get on the schedule and see that game.
And as to your way or style of playing, has it changed from AHL and here? Do you play different or do you have different like
No.
roles?
I pride myself on playing good defense. You know, I've always wanted to play good defense, and you know, it's nice to go over here and be able to run the power play. I think that's the biggest thing for me when I was playing in the NHL and stuff like that. I never got that opportunity to be an offensive guy. I was always kind of just a two-way defensive shutdown guy. You know, that's hard being my size and stuff like that. So coming over here, being able to put up some points and stuff like that feels good.
And playing here in Russia and KHL, what did it give it to you as a person and as a player? Like what experience or what you like meeting?
Yeah, no, every day is experience. I think living in Russia, playing in this league, there's never a dull moment. There's always something happening, and it always keeps on your toes. You can't get too comfortable here, I think. And that's something that's a little nice, a little bad, but what can you expect? It's always unexpected.
And what is your most favorite hockey moment?
Favorite hockey moment? Well, I definitely have two. My first one is obviously getting drafted in the first round. My whole family, we had about 15 people there, and it was in Columbus, Ohio, so that was a great experience. And then my second one was winning the Memorial Cup in 2007 with the Vancouver Giants. Anytime you win a championship, you'll remember that. I have James Wright on my team, who I played with in Vancouver, and we won together, so it's cool to have him here and kind of having a new experience with him.
And do you have a favorite goal you scored? Do you ever score? All the guys you scored?
No, obviously you always remember your first NHL goal. But when I scored against LA Kings, it was pretty cool picture up playing, watching the Kings and doing all their games and stuff like that. So my mom was a Ducks fan, so she was pretty happy to score against the Kings.
And now, what would you do if you were in California boy?
Yeah, I don't know. My dad was an electrician, and he had his own company, so to be honest, I'd probably work for him or try to take over his business one day. But if I don't know, California, I grew up surfing and stuff like that, so if I wasn't playing hockey, I could have put a little more time into surfing.
And if you could change one rule in KHL, what rule?
One rule in the KHL, oh man. I don't even know.
There are many of them.
There's many of them. It was funny, I missed meeting at the start of the season with some of the rule changes. And the first game, there was like a broken stick. Guy lost a stick, and he could shoot his stick to the player, and I did that, and I got a penalty, and they changed that this year where you can't touch a stick laying on the ice, and I got a penalty, so I